Hello, welcome back. Tonight I will speak about Galactica, which is a beautiful collection of grimoires, different grimoires, 11 different ones that I have written, and I published as a digital product, as a digital collection of books of grimoires, inspired by the Book of King Solomon, Ars Goetia. And tonight's topic is going to be Vine, the Grimoire of Vine, or the Unbound Breath. This is like a second title. The main title is Vine, is the name of the character, and the Unbound Breath is the title of the grimoire as well. So in a way it tells two stories in one, because first, of course, it is the story of Vine that is the main character of the grimoire, and the different aspect of him, which is the grimoire. We say, well, it is a grimoire that includes a grimoire, and it tells the story of this grimoire of Vine that is called the Unbound Breath, and the story of this grimoire. So in my grimoire of Vine, I tell exactly this story of this grimoire, that what is the story of the grimoire of the Unbound Breath, or the grimoire of Vine, and the story behind it as well. It's the only grimoire that I have written not totally in hymn verse, but in a combination of prosa, like a normal novel, a normal story, and then the aspects of the hymn, the verses that I included throughout the story as well. So it moves from prosa to hymn, from prosa, hymn, and so on and so forth. Why it was like that? Because normally all the other grimoires have the same literary form, the same hymn form, but in the case of Vine, I first wrote the same hymn form grimoire for him as well, but then I started to write the story, or I wanted to write the story in prosa to give it a beginning, and then I wanted to include all the text that I had for the grimoire as well, which after I discovered too that it was correlated to the story, because the Vine tells the story of this grimoire, the Unbound Breath. And Vine is represented on the cover as a warrior, as a lion. And so, well, Vine is a warrior. Is a black lion, which of course has a meaning as well to why lion, why black, no, which we will discuss. It is his representation as well, that fierce, that brute force, that element of the strongest, the bravest, the most courageous, the most beloved as well. To say Vine is on a mission, or Vine has a sacred mission as well that he knows, and he is a true warrior. That's what I can say about Vine. And the grimoire opens with the scene where Vine meets the girl, that it is part of the story as well. He meets a young woman, and he saves that woman from a situation where he finds her, no? And then he travels with her to her palace, where he welcomes her in his palace, and then he has to go on a mission. He has to go and he leaves her at the palace, at his palace, and then when he comes back, no, they reunite. And what else I can say about Vine? That it is, well, it is a little bit my first time to meditating on the thematic, because I didn't make yet a playlist for Vine, but I will do. A few of the most interesting aspects of Vine. I can mention the aspect of the fire. We say all that element of the fire, the transformation of the fire as well. You know, we say, well, fire at high temperature becomes lava. It's very, very high temperature, no? And then from the lava that cools down at a different temperature, it gets like like a dark type of earth, which is fluid, no? That you can sink in. It's quite dangerous sometimes because it's an element of that environment where you can sink in the earth, There's this element of that fire that was transformed in this volcano lava, no? And then it cools down, it goes through different transformations, and it becomes this black, there's a certain word in English, in Romanian it is namol, like a dark earth or like a dark clay, which is like sticky, So from that fire, from the element of red, the element of the black, it is connected to the colors red and black. Another aspect of Vine which is very important is the palace of Vine, which is like a secret, of course, and the fact that he went and showed her where his palace is, it means that he loves her, because he will never do that with anyone, only for her. And you say, well, his palace, the origin or anything about the palace of Vine or anything, it is a secret. It is not to be found. It is only he knows where, And it's very difficult to reach there. It's a very long journey, and only Vine can make it to reach that place. And that's why he travels with her, knowing that she will be safe with him. That's why he takes her. So we have the element of Vine as a true king is, it's the element of the warrior. So the king is a warrior as well. The warrior is the protector as well, Because we'll say, the warrior is on the side of the good, So if the warrior would see a situation that is handled unfair, he will take action, He will help, or he will adjust, There is that element. So that aspect that he meets the girl, and this is required of him, creates the basis line, that story that I was able then to develop the two characters together, knowing that they will continue the story together. And then I was like, okay, they were at the palace, where it's quite interesting, of course, the description of the palace or the elements that are found there. And then the third part of the book, first we have the introduction, then the story of him and the woman reaching that place, that palace, which is a little like the apogee, the high line of the story, So the line 2, the story 2 is storyline, has a certain line, but that line is not straight, There is a point which is the highest, is that element of that scene where they are there. And then there is the travel of him alone, because in general he always goes alone. Vine is always alone. Well, alone meaning him and his horse. And the horse of Vine is black as well. So it is, of course, the black is the color of the warrior, because it creates a form of invisibility. And you say, Vine has the ability to say, he's a little like to say, he is a very beautiful lion. It's a black lion. It's not only a normal lion, it is bigger in size as well. But he can take appearance of a normal man as well. So he can do both. There is that element of that connection that he has with the horse as well. It is that part which he is very human as well, but he appears in that element of the lion, in real, like a real big black, beautiful, courageous lion. You say, in nature we don't have black lions. I don't think exist. That's why to say Vine is unique. There is no one like Vine. And I think that makes the story very interesting, very appealing from the beginning, because it starts with an important scene. I started to tell the story in a highlight of the story for the beginning, and then the story keeps getting more and more interesting. That's what I like about the Grimoire of Vine, that it starts very good and it gets better. If then something else happens, and it is a constant change of the story as well, and of the elements that are included. And there is the aspect of visibility or invisibility, to say, well, to be a true good warrior, you have to be extremely intelligent, extremely cautious, extremely prepared, extremely courageous, and it requires, especially, of course, the art, the art of combat, in the meaning, so well, I have to know what are the I have to guess the steps beforehand. It's that element of preparation as well. In the same time, Vine does not work like that. Vine works purely on instinct. That's why it's the representation of that black lion, because that is pure instinct. He only follows his pure instinct, which is never wrong. So that where lays his strength, and of course then the physical strength, the extreme endurance that Vine carries. And so, well, he is that element of indefeatable, or the element that he will always be victorious. But the travel for him is difficult, is extremely challenging as well. That's why that element of that girl or the woman, that he helps her after she helps him, because her remaining in the palace brings him back to her. It's that the story is success in the end because of her existence that brought Vine back to her. It was that endurance of being able to see her again that brought him out of that very difficult place where he was, reaching back home, reaching back to the castle, reaching back to her. Because he goes there, he goes somewhere, then he of course has to come back, and the travel back is very difficult. And he does arrive at the castle. It's a very beautiful scene as well, at the palace where they meet again, and then he tells her more things about that place where, so well, the palace, the castle has a very beautiful lake in front of it, and or different chambers or different parts. It is not only one construction; it has more parts to it as well. And other elements I could describe necessarily for him, for Vine, I would say the black coal, which is connected to the element of fire, or something that has burned and transformed into this black, beautiful coal, which is very, very rich in mineral, in the material that it is, what it represents. It's like a big transformation to get the black coal, and then that element of the dust aspect of the black coal, if it's dried. At the same time, if it's wet, it's that element of that sinking sand, or the sinking black clay, that dangerous type of landscapes that Vine has to travel through the book in that scene where he goes back to the castle. And that's why I say it is a very difficult journey for him back. So well, his strength and abilities does make him succeed, and as I've said, that emotional part of him, but it is, a part of his journey. It was a part of his divine, So well, Vine has a lot of power and strength and courage, but it is not his domain. He is a servant. So well, a warrior is a servant finally. And other element of Vine is that the element of solitude. He always likes to be alone, always, and those scenes where he shares with the the woman, no, that is the second character in the book. Well, so the book is about them too. She how you say, like, understands him, no, and it's that aspect of him trusting her and telling her things and sharing things, where he tells her, there is an element of him telling her what's happening or where he has to go, and that he will come back. That is the promise that he keeps. So the Grimoire of Wine, the story develops in a beautiful rhythm that I created in the book as well. Now I somehow spoke in a fast manner, just like the main story. Of course, in the Grimoire, one is able to read all those elements that I have written, I have created, I have developed as well. And I remember my first impression of what I really wanted to do is to make sure that it is poetic, that it remains in a poetic form as well, that it is not too descriptive or not too simple, that is the element of the poetic, of the lyrical part as well presented in the book. I found the contrast very beautiful, that harsh environment of wine that Judy has to carry, and that the softness elements of that love of her, and the beautiful aspect with the palace, which is another place where that wine loves. It is his home. And so the element of solitude is very important when it comes to wine. That's why he never, there is no dialogue, there is no connection in the meaning. The only connection, it was him and the girl, and the connection he has to the horse or to the element of nature or his abilities. There is, of course, a very deep connection to many very important things, but it is not, it's a very straight line, straightforward type of character. And it does carry a lot of poetic potency as well. Of course, that's why I worked very much on those aspects. So I was sure to not miss those aspects that I think created a higher quality of the text as well and of the story. Another a symbol of a vine is the vipera. It is the black viper, which is a type of snake that is connected to, that is the magical aspect, magical, so even the horse, it's not a normal horse, it is it's a horse of vine, no? And it carries some magical abilities, some special, unique abilities, or the way he looks, it is different, it's a bigger size, it is with different qualities or different abilities. And the element of the vipera, of this viper, the black viper, it is very much represents the element of the magical aspect of vine, of the aspect of his power, of course. So it is the element of the venom, so well, it's the venom of the truth, which is not bad. So well, there is different type, no? So well, the venom truth, the venom of truth, which is very much connected to vine, as the black viper. It is the aspect of transformation. It is the aspect of as I said, an ancient symbol, of course, a snake, but it's not a simple snake. It is a black viper, which is found in a certain condition in certain type of environments, which is more rocky, which is a little bit more mountain-like. It is dried, no? So that element of dryness, so well, we see him travel on his horse many in very hot environments without water, and there maybe are a lot of these lizards or black viper, no? It's like very dangerous environments as well. So it's well, him carrying that element of the viper, this that real viper, the black viper, is the element of protection that he has around him as well. So he carries that venom too, or the anti-venom. And I think the most important part is the element of solitude, which has to be understood, not to say, well, he likes to be alone. It is more complicated than that. The element of solitude is an element of protection as well, and his own character and his own choice. It is his choice. It is his decision. And there's a special connection he has to the horse, because he is able to there's like a very, very strong friendship between him and the horse, and so he is able to call the horse, and the horse can come and or wait for him at certain points. Like the horse too is very intelligent, is a horse with special qualities. It's like one with vine. It carries those elements of vine as well. It is one and only, say it is the image is shown to us as one, as whole, say him on the horse with the element of the black viper. And then we have two, of course, very beautiful environments, which is very much the element of the forest, or the element of nature, or the element of the palace, where it's always beautiful. It's always peaceful, a lot of nature. It's always it has day and night, and it's very beautiful sky in the night, or very beautiful sun during the day. So it is a very beautiful place. It is his safe haven, his safe place. It is his home. You say sometimes he's there, sometimes he is on his journeys or travel, or places that he goes with his horse. And he does carry a certain type of armor as well, over his chest and shoulders. That's the element of the armor, or of the element of the sword, or to say, but it's not necessarily that those elements represent to say, the sword, because it is, as I've said, symbols don't work in a simple way. Symbols are always complicated. That's why you can guess sometimes when you're right through that aspect, but it's not to say, well, oranges are orange and berries are blue, you say, well, that's not a symbol. It has no relation, the color with the object necessarily. And for me to say that his power resides in him, as I've said, those are all important aspects of him that show and we are able to understand him, but it is not nothing that he cannot survive without. To say he carries that strength within. It is an element of his power. To say, well, the power does not stand in the scepter, or the fact that I'm holding a viper. That's not power. But the power is inside one. The power is in that element of oneself. It is, and of course, then it can be represented inside. That's correct. It can be represented on the outside through different symbols. But not necessarily, not to say the symbols carry the power. No, the symbol is a symbol. It's almost void of sense, but it helps us understand the meaning behind it. Symbols are like extra words that are given to one thing, and one can find correlation between those elements to understand that object or character or whatever it is in a more profound, correct way. It is a comparative type of work, but one has to have linguistic knowledge and or some type of talent to be able to figure that out, or it is a part of training as well, of exercise. But so symbols are a little bit tricky to work with. Sometimes they change meaning depending on the subject, so one always has to start from the beginning to say, well, about who I'm talking and what are the symbols in his type, in his correlation work, that I can find meaning that is truthful. Otherwise it does not make sense for me to compare. And being a writer is a very comparative work. And you say, well, this, it is all comparison, so it's very helpful. It's a helpful aspect to know as well in writing books or writing a story. To say the focus is always on the character, and it not necessarily to be focused always on the character, because that will be boring, to see the same character all the time. Does not exist. So there is a representation of the different aspects that happen around, or the inner world of the character, or it is a decision making, as I've said, for a writer too. So the transition between scenes always has to make sense, has to be correct, and has to be prepared in a beautiful way, the way you jump from one scene to another. There is an element in between that I like to describe as well, because it's very important what happens in between. It's not that I'm rushing the book from one scene to another, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, only line. Oh no, does not work. Being a writer is a creative work. It can be 100 and I still don't know which color. It is so. Sometimes you don't know. And when you don't know, so well, you have to choose. And then you choose. And that simplifies the things as well. And it is correlated to the part of logic. So what makes sense. But sometimes not too, no? So, sometimes the element of logic disappears, no? And then we have a story that it is more on the magical side. And that appears too in the environment. That's why when we see Vine, or we see those elements of him, we are already in his world, so to say, in his representation. So all the aspects, it is correlated to him as well, that of course combine in the story. And my work as a writer is to combine all these different parts in a beautiful, coherent, artistic, literally book or manuscript or a grimoire, depends on, or a novel, depends on which thematic as well, or what I choose for that specific book. And what I find interesting about Vine is that part of the Vine opening the book with a scene where he appears immediately, and then the story develops then in a more slower pace, and the element of that book that is included in the grimoire of Vine, or the Unbound breath, that appears towards the end of the grimoire, where Vine reveals more about this grimoire. I think Vine, the Unbound breath, is a very beautiful grimoire that I do recommend to especially ones who have interested in a story that carries that element of victory, or carries that element of something epic. No, it is the journey of Vine, and I think it's a very interesting one. I think it's very unique. Because you say, well, it's the same receptor, like when you prepare something, I use the same ingredients, no? But in a different way. For Vine, I wanted to create something new. I went a little away from the original form of the grimoire that I was writing, or I wrote all the other ones. So it gave me a little more freedom. It gave some new elements, and I found it interesting, this combination between prosa and the grimoire. And then the story of Vine, I think it's quite simple like that. It's, as I said, very straightforward type of book as well, or Vine is very much like that. And there is the book, of course, of Vine, the Unbound breath, in paper, if you want to buy it and read it, have it for yourself. There is a link in the description box below with a link to the book. And for Galactica, I think Vine is one of the strongest or boldest type of stories. It's very brave, very courageous. I think it represents Vine very well. I gave special secret spices all together, to create that element. I said, well, it is not easy to recreate in a text the element of fire or the lava or that element I was speaking. It's like it was interesting choice for me as well. It was an interesting decision making that I had to do, that I enjoyed, because I had to choose between elements that I actually find very interesting, as the black earth or the black coal, or that element of the lava, or that process of the fire or that lava, that is able to create that clay, that element of that nutrients that creates earth, creates element of earth and the transformation. And at the palace of him too, we see that element of the earth combined with water, and sometimes the earth there is very watery. You walk and there's a lot of water on the ground. It is a very wet environment. It is a specific, it's like an enigma. That place is enigmatic. It is only Vine can understand, only Vine can live there. No one else there can live with the help of him. It is his domain, He knows that place. No one else can. That place reacts to him. He is the owner of that place, of that beautiful home, beautiful palace, and all the things around. There is a lot of forest. There is a lot of humidity. There is a lot of fog. There is a lot of rain. Cold environments. At the same time, during day, it's very much sunlight. In the night, there is this beautiful of calmness, serene, black blue sky, the element of the air, cold air. Then the castle has parts which is very old, with old stones, big stones, very, very beautiful, with intricate rooms, with hidden rooms, with a lot of staircases with different rooms. And so it is magical. It is very beautiful inside and out, and there is the landscape around it as well, with lakes and rivers and gardens as well. There is of course the element of the black viper is very most important symbol of him, is that he carries it on the hand, so it is one of his hands, it is integrated in his power, to say it. He is the black viper too, and is very much element of the black. We have the black horse, we have the black viper, then we have the black him known as the black lion, the representation of the color black. And it is the element of the night. Of course, lion is connected to the night. It's a cat of the night. You say, well, black is a serene color. I know many don't think it's serene, but I find black very relaxing to the eyes. It is serene. Many say blue is serene, but for me blue is not serene. Blue is more electric. It carries a nuance, a vibration. Black, no. Black is very, here it is. It is sometimes shiny, sometimes dusty, sometimes foggy, sometimes, but it is the dark particle of the black that makes it so beautiful. It is very rich color. It's even more rich than red for me, black. It is full of nutrients, full of, when you think of the black earth, it's black, all the elements which are black are just perfection. It is sublime, it is serene. And it represents that element that he enjoys, that serenity, that peacefulness, the element of the night, the silence, the solitude. It is necessary for him, and at a palace too, the castle, there is a lake with the black water too. This element of the black. So the black always repeats itself. It always comes. One can see throughout the grimoire how I arrange the element of the black, which always comes in different ways. It repeats itself. There is a certain pattern to that as well. And there's the element of the action. It's always action. There's always an element of movement. Fast movement, slower movement, but always movement. There is never stagnancy in the story. Vine is never stagnant in any way. And the most beautiful what I find, of course, is the palace. That fascinates me the most. That element of the palace of Vine. And I like very much how the book starts with the encounter between him and the woman. It is quite interesting, and it gave me a good start for the grimoire. And I like the end of the grimoire as well, where I didn't speak so much. It's a little bit more secret, that it is like the main part of the book appears in the end. I didn't put it in the middle because I wanted to first develop the story of love between them, and then the last part is that the aspect of the main part of the grimoire as well, and then the return back to the home, to the palace, to the castle as well, which became then, to say, the final point of the travel of him towards the palace. At the same time, after he arrived, he always travels with her as well in different places. He is not always at that palace, at his home. So he takes long journeys, and I will leave it for tonight here. Of course, one can develop the story even more and discover even new elements that are combined to Vine, and I will create a playlist that is for Vine as well, because it is an interesting book that I want to create a playlist. And as I've said, if you're interested in the book of Vine, The Unbound Breath, I definitely think it's a great grimoire. And if I was to put it from number 1 to 11 on top, I would put it at number 9 or number 10. Maybe I put it somebody or another grimoire at 9. If yes, then at 10. Which I think it's a good place for Vine. It is finding the element of the balance. Let's say if we see the color palette, which is one straight line, that it moves from white to black, left white, on the right black, and it moves from the light, it moves through the colors, and then it goes back to black, and finally it is one line that carries all these colors, carries the white, carries the black, and carries all the colors too as well, and I think why the color black is so representative for him, for Vine, I think because it speaks about the color black is the most potent, is the most nutritious or nutrient color, or as I said, it carries a certain type of richness with it that only the black carries. That's why it's so unique. That's why it's the color that Vine has, that represents him to us very, very much. And black is not a cold color. It can never be. Black is a very warm color. It comes from red, comes from fire. We say, well, blue is a colder color, or even green is more cold color. But red and black are very much connected from the element of fire that is transformed in the element of the black. It's the same when you take a piece of paper, you put it in the fire, it transforms from the red into the ash of the black. Depending on the material, it pulverizes, or it can take different shapes, even metal form or hard material as well, or it can be like the black coal, very dusty. It can be taken in the hand, and then you hold it very strong, and it's like a dust mineral. It's very fine. It's very, very, very fine. It's the element of the high quality and what it carries. And the black combines very well with blue and green. Very, very well. Even more than red with black. I say, well, for me, red fits more to the blue, green to yellow, and red to black, or white to yellow as well. No? And there's another aspect of the magical forest or magical landscapes that sometimes appear in folklore, where you say where there's an aspect where Vine travels through one of his travels, where he encounters a magical place like that, almost say the entire place, everything was moving, everything was trying to attack him or destroy him, like the trees will create something, or the earth under will move, the water will come, or big stones, and it's that element of the warrior, to say, of that element of the battlefield, and what that says, that place where Vine can show his mastery. And I think that's the most impressive part of him. He is at a very high level of understanding of his duty. And there is the element of the leather, so well, the Grimoire of Vine, or the Grimoire of Unbound Breath, is prepared by Vine in a case of leather. This element of the leather, which is connected to the element of the instinct, that animal instinct as well. And it's the element of protection. It's like a skin or something like so. Leather is skin, actually. And it is a protection, so the grimoire survives. So the grimoire is not destroyed. It is, so to say, hidden by Vine in the story. And there we see very much the element of the leather, the leather case where the grimoire is put together as a cover, as a protection form as well. And there's another part that I don't speak now because I don't want to reveal everything about the book, but there's a very interesting part too that comes in the story towards the middle end, and I find that part very, very interesting, and I worked a lot on the dialogue and on the development of the story. This book required of me to be able to develop the story in many different scenes that somehow have a good transition between them, and it always has a higher meaning, or is a higher level of interest, and be able to keep that for the readers as well for a story. Especially, say, well, when you see him, when you see Vine, it's already everything there, so it's like, okay, then let's start, to create something around that it can be shown, it can be presented. So the element of the scenes, I took very much care in about the element of Vine, that I wanted the element of Vine to be very straightforward, very potent, very clear, represented, because that's how he represents himself. I always give honor to my character. I don't want to say lies or represent them incorrectly. And I like as a writer to find all the elements that fit together, and somehow, but most of the work is intuitively. When I work on it, I don't think about this. It is very much intuitively the way I work, and I have a very fast, a clear idea, and then I task it on, I make it happen, and then I go to the next one and say, okay, let me see here which scene and how I want to represent this scene, and then it moves to the next one, and so on. So yeah, it was helpful for me to structure the Grimoire of Vine. So no matter how important or crazy or how strange or how developed or whatever a story is, it has to have a constancy in the text, otherwise the story can be lost as well, like if you put a lot of scene, action, scene, it becomes the same, action becomes boring. So one has to find an element between the the softness of something, of a scene. That scene was so soft and so everything so ethereal and ephemeral and beautiful and out of this world and divine, and then a very big contrast. The next scene would be totally opposite. It's like the reader cannot say, okay, it's not that tempo, this the alt tempo, no, you go higher. It is always represented on the same tonality, but if you break the tonality, then the note falls down. It's a bigger contrast as well. It's the same. It's a musical aspect that I created in that scene for the book. It's like a little rapture. It's like, oh, we have the scene of the palace, and then suddenly we have him, one of his travels, which is totally different. So one has to duplicate and triplicate sometimes scenes that I said does not have to follow a rule, has to fit the book, and has to fit the character and the story for and foremost. It is not about me showing my talent as a writer. No one cares about my talent as a writer in that meaning. It is about the story finally. It is not about me as a writer. You know, that's generally the point of my books, because it's just an example of, no? But my focus is always on the character. It's the same when I write on it. And I find the Grimoire of Vine very, very special, very unique, a little bit different than the others as well, which of course created an element of a different perspective or something totally new. And I love Vine. I think he is very, very beautiful. He is very royal. His representation is all about the royal. We say, well, it's not the blue royal, it's the black royal, you know, but it is a higher. We said black is the most potent color. Blue does not have anything on the black. It is, they say black is, if one understands the color black, in all the aspects as well, in the chemie it represents this, in color, in the color scheme of Goethe, no, or in different studies that one can look in the colors, and sometimes unfortunately the color black is excluded because I don't know who came to the crazy idea, and others believe it, that the black and white are not colors, because it's totally false. Even scientifically it's false. It does not make absolutely no sense. And to say, well, there is still new knowledge about that element of the light or the wavelength or the different colors, you know, and it is a very important part of science, a very important part of knowledge as well. And the Palace of Vine is very, very beautiful. It is nothing like this ever will exist and ever existed. I say, well, it looks simple at first, but that place is so beautiful. There's if you see a certain type of cloud, it almost like speaks or moves more down, and you're able to touch it. You know, there is a lot of things. It's like it's not enough for me to say magical, because it's a little like the house where it's like the staircase move, but it's nothing creepy, it's nothing strange or weird. It is just the beautiful elements of that magical place of palace that he created. Vine, it is his creation as well, so it's very interchangeable. It is very very in the reach as a white cloud. You just put your hand and you touch it, you know, how it feels, how a white cloud feels. It feels, you can feel a white cloud. It's not to say, it's just white nothingness and I don't feel it in the air. No, you feel it. It is a substance as well, no? And it carries that element of the white, but in a very playful way, in a very gentle way. The same like with the snowflake. Well, it is where the Palace of Vine is. We have the element of the snow very much, of the wetness of the water, of the snow, of the cold, of the wind. It is a little bit like, you know, there's a special feeling that it represents him. It is simply something not forced, but at the same time very open, very beautiful. but very close, very intimate. In the same time, there's the aspect of the palace inside, the rooms, and then the palace outside, which is much more large, and it is it carries a lot of magical and very beautiful different type of nature that only Vine has there. It is unique. Everything there is very unique. I do invite you, of course, to check out the book of Vine, the cover. There's a link in the description box that brings you direct to the book, and then you can read and see the color of the book of Vine, and you see the back cover of the book of Vine. And I think it has around 300 pages, something like that. And I will continue another time. I think for Galactica, Vine is a great grimoire. It's just a very interesting story, very beautiful story that somehow breaks that continuance, repetitive elements of the other grimoires. Not to say that's wrong, but it does bring something very much Vine. It is to say there's a certain emblem, there's a certain royal sigil that only Vine has, and that's part of his history, that's part of his unique, who Vine is. It is always connected to the element of unique. Thank you so much for listening. I will continue another time. Until then, thank you so much for listening, and all the best to you. Bye.